Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Rugby Talk. In this episode, we have former New Zealand under 20, current Maori All Black and All Black, and a current Highlanders who's also a Southland man, born and bred in Christchurch, and currently playing for the Rico Black Rams in Japan. Welcome to Rugby Talk, brother Elliot Dixon. Welcome, brother.
How you going, brother? Yeah, cheers, man. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome having you, brother. Thanks for taking out the time, man, in your isolation period.
Yeah, man. No, I've got plenty of time at the moment. So 10 days in isolation in Japan. So I've got a lot of time just to either game or talk to people. So it's all good.
So you can't leave your room, right? You have to stay there all the time.
So we've got like standalone apartments. So I'm just in an apartment at the moment. So 3-bedroom apartment. Usually have the family here, but they didn't come over obviously because of Corona, and they've stayed back in Christchurch. So hopefully get back home and see the kids and wife soon.
That's awesome, brother. Must be very, very frustrating to be all alone, that far away from home.
Yeah, it is. The good part is playing, I suppose, week to week. It goes a lot faster when it's in season. I found that it dragged out heaps, man. Before the season started, just pre-season's training, and it made me a bit homesick. But once the season starts and rolls around, it's just week to week, and it goes pretty quick.
Yeah, because when you're in pre-season, it feels like it's taking forever for the game to come. So like for your first pre-season hit or anything like that, and you're thinking, when are we going to do some contact work or anything like that, just running all the time?
Yeah, or even just we did quite a bit of contact, but it's more just contact against people you don't know is okay. Don't really like smashing each other, and injuries, when you get injured in pre-season or contact training against each other, it's a bit annoying, but in a game it doesn't really matter, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely, because it's like I got hurt in training. I think it was 2019 when my AC joint dislocated. So it was a grade 2 ligament tear, and that was against a friend of mine as well in training. So that was really frustrating, and I could literally feel something wasn't right, like the bone was like out of place. So I almost cried. I was close to crying. Yeah, that was
mate, injuries are just part of it. You just kind of, it's part and parcel of rugby, especially like contact injuries. So like your tears or your breaks, you can't do much about anything about that. It's just those other injuries that you can kind of keep on top of, like your muscle tears, your hamstrings and your tight calves. I think that's just more conditioning and training. So it's just part and parcel with rugby, bro. I've had that many injuries, I don't even know how many I've had.
I think I definitely am going to take basically a sabbatical this year, just to recover and focus on those injuries. And then I really want to come back stronger next year. And I don't know where I'm going to play next year though, but I'll see what's the best option for me.
Yeah, what position do you play, brother?
I played 10, brother, but I've played everywhere on the team already. I played 6, I played 7, I played 8, which I enjoyed the most actually. Playing 7 and 6. Well, that freedom and you're just into things. So I really enjoyed playing there.
Yeah, so I moved when I was 16. I moved away from the backs. I was getting a bit too bored and moved into the flankers and just haven't looked back. Also probably lost a bit of pace, so had to stay in the flankers, which was good fun.
I wouldn't actually mind playing there again. It's really, really fun. But what do you prefer, like playing 6, 7, or 8?
To be honest, bro, they all have their benefits. I find that 8, you're usually the ball runner in the middle of the park. You're not as much of a line-out option, but you're more confrontational. So on defense, it's usually in the middle of the field where it's a bit easier. Bigger guys running at you, obviously, but they're not as fast. They don't usually step you as much, but they still can, I suppose. But 7 is awesome to get into the game real quick. First breakdown, it's pretty much your role off the line-out. First breakdown, first tackle, and then 6 is pretty much a role where you're in the line out a lot more. You're more pivotal to the line out. And then you take care of the blind side, which is pretty much off like a set phase, either scrum or line out. You take care of the prop forwards and the front row. So I find that quite cool more just the side of learning the other opposition's plays and knowing when they're going to switch back, knowing who you've got. I think you got to think a lot more at 6 than at 7 and 8. You can kind of just get into the game pretty quickly. So I personally, I'm probably better at 6, but I do enjoy 8 and 7 just because, as I said, you're into the game a lot more and you feel like you're doing a lot more, even though at 6 you're probably doing a more pivotal role, but you don't get into the game as much.
I never actually knew there was so much to a number 6's role. It's actually very interesting that you've explained it in that depth. But like if you look at, for example, if you take David Pocock, the same like yourself and Jerome Kaino, where Kieran Reid, Richie McCaw, we've all had to go through that roles on a Super Rugby level, on an international level. It just shows that to be a professional rugby player, to be a loose forward at that level, you have to be versatile.
Yeah, and I think that's key. I don't think you can get bogged down with a specialist position, especially in loose forwards. If you can play all 3, that makes you invaluable to a team, especially coming off the bench. If you're just a specialist 7, let's say, it's quite hard to, you're either starting or you're not playing. That's what I've found with a lot of players that I've played with that are specialists, that they either get picked to play and start every game, or they don't get picked on the bench. Whereas I was able to see selections coming and stuff like that, and then be able to be like, yeah, I can play, I can cover all 3 positions, I can learn all the lineouts and blah blah blah, and go from there. And I think the better guys and Jerome and all those boys and Pocock, as you said, they can play all 3 at a drop of a hat, and they're smart enough to learn a game plan at 3 different roles.
Definitely, if you look at their quality, even if you bring in Terry Dusatoa, Sam Warburton, players like that of their caliber, and when you were in that position playing at Super Rugby against Bowie, against Jerome Kaino, what is your mindset that you have to beat them today?
I never really thought of it as an individual battle. I suppose because there's 15 guys on the field in your team and 15 on the other team. It was more just to do your role, I suppose. It's to do your role, do it well, and do it more times than the other opposition. And then if you're doing those micro skills and the micro comms on the field, and then you usually get a leg up and get a win. I'd rather the team get a win and me play bad against a guy like Kaino and that, than play really good and get a loss, So.
Yeah. Valid point you're making there, brother. And I wanted to ask you, do you remember when the last time you guys played the Stormers here in Cape Town? I actually I sent you a message to ask if we could link up, but unfortunately that didn't happen.
Yeah, mate. Those tours, especially, I think it might have been our first week or second week. They go pretty quick, So like you get a day off. Maybe your Wednesday's your day off, and usually your only day. And then after the game, you might have a couple of beers, but it's usually just with the team. So it's quite hard to link up with anyone. I've had a couple of mates that live in Durban. They came over to St. Bede's, where I went to school for First 15 back in the day, back in 2006, 2007. And I only got to catch up with my mate that lived in Durban one time out of the 10 times or 15 times that I went to Durban. So yeah, it's a bit of a mission. I love going to South Africa, and it really sucks for probably that next generation that are playing Super Rugby that haven't been able to travel to South Africa and get to meet the fans and obviously play against different types of players. Australia and New Zealand are quite similar in the way we play, whereas Africans are pretty physical, know the game inside and out, and especially the fans as well. It's always good fun getting to the international airport in Joburg, and you've got fans where you never thought you'd have fans, and it's always one of my favorite times of the calendar. And sorry, brother, that I didn't get to hook up with you and go and do something, but next time, hopefully, if I get to go over there one time again.
Hopefully, or even hopefully I'll get to New Zealand and we can link up there, because I've been supporting the Crusaders since I can remember. Obviously looking up to DC and all of that, all of those big guys coming through there. And final this weekend, Chiefs versus Crusaders. What do you think about that, brother?
Oh yeah, it's quite an odd one, eh? Like I was just looking at the points differential and the teams, and it's quite crazy that the Chiefs haven't got like the best points differential or the best run, but they've won the last 5 in a row, and pretty much on D-Max's kicks at the end. So
yeah,
it's at least if you're a Chiefs fan, you know that they can win it from those positions in those last couple of minutes pressure games. So it's going to be an odd one, man. I think personally, I don't like to say it, but I think the Crusaders will win. I just don't see them losing at Orange Theory Stadium anytime soon. They're just a tough class act, and just do the simple things well. Like if you get a penalty inside their half, and they'll just kick it down, maul it. Good scrummaging team, and they've got fire and backs, bro. So it's pretty hard to beat.
Definitely. Because obviously you have to look at the experience of the Crusaders boys, because what is it, their 3rd final in a row, or including Super Rugby as well. They've been every year almost in a final, so you have to look at the experience as well compared to the to the Chiefs boys. So even though D-Mac is the clutch king, we have to see what happens on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's since 2017. I think they've been in the final every year since then. 2016, the Hurricanes won it. So I think, so since 2017, they've won it every year. And then Rugby Aotearoa as well. They've won the last 2 years, or the last year.
Yeah.
And then they'll be in the final this year. So it's a good run, man. They're making another dynasty down there.
Definitely. And when you were, can you take us back to your upbringing in Christchurch and how it came that you moved away from Christchurch and didn't get to play for the Crusaders?
Yeah. So what was happened? So after school, I signed with Canterbury to their high performance unit, which was probably the best in the country at the time, and probably still is one of the best in the country. Really enjoyed that. A lot of early morning starts. 5-6 a.m. starts for the gym and stuff like that. But I was fortunate enough to make the under-20 squad. Toured to Japan, won the cup, won the championship, came back and was looking to hopefully get into the ITM Cup squad for Canterbury. But unfortunately, there was so many players ahead of me, Nassim Manu, and there's a couple other boys as well. So I had a mate, good friend of mine, Robbie Robinson, down in Southland. Yeah. And I'd been talking to a couple of other boys that were from St. Bede's that had headed down there as well. And they offered me a gig, full-time rugby player, and I jumped at it and never looked back. It was probably the best decision. Back in those days, back when I started, 2009, with Southland, you didn't usually go down there. It was usually just a place where if you're brought up down in Southland, you'd play for Southland, but you wouldn't move away from Christchurch to go down to Southland to play. So it was pretty cool to go down there and have a crack.
But you can't let that those opportunities pass. So obviously you had to take it. Full-time rugby player. And Robbie Robinson, he played with the Chiefs at 50, right?
Yeah, so actually he played with the Highlanders as well. So he was so my first year with the Highlanders was his 2nd or 3rd year with the Highlanders. And then he left in 2000, I want to say 2012. From 2012 onwards, he was with the Chiefs for 3 years, and they won 2 championships at that time. So, he's over in Japan as well. Actually followed him to Japan, and we played in Rico together as well. So it's quite funny. Me and him have kind of intertwined our rugby careers together, and it's always awesome to play with a guy that you played with. I think my first time we played together was a thing called Southern Regions when we were 15, 16. So, and to think, what is it? Oh, geez, I've got to have to do the math now. 15 years later, 16 years later, we'll still be playing together. It's pretty awesome.
That's legendary, because you obviously have that bond. And when you joined in Japan, you have someone there that you're not alone. And obviously having such a close relationship, you can just build it from there.
Yeah, and it's always good to have a few guys that are Kiwis as well. We had a couple of guys here in Rico that are Kiwis, and it's always good don't get me wrong, I love playing with other nationalities, but it's always good to hear that accent of, like yourself, and to know where you've come from, and just to suppose be in the same wavelength as being a New Zealander overseas, chasing a ball around, which is good fun.
Hopefully I can still do that. I'm
Yeah.
24. I'm 24 next month, but you never know what opportunities may arise. You obviously have to put in the work and not wish only for things. But definitely, I have the opportunity where I can share my training videos with James O'Connor on Instagram. So he gives his feedback and things like that. So really grateful to him. Obviously, you know, his quality and his experience. So I can only learn from players like that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I'll be able to critique your kicking, to be honest, mate. But although I am 100% in Super Rugby, you have to look that up. 100%. Yeah, I got one kick for my 100th game, and I got it over. So I always claim that. Always tell Lima Sopwanga, I'm always like, mate, I'm 100%. I think you're only at about 75 or 80%. So yeah, no, don't send me any videos, bro. Because I wouldn't know what the heck first fives do. They just they usually just kick the ball really well, and I'm just like, oh yeah, thanks guys, kick it out. I'll do the line out. You go next. So yeah, definitely. But you're still young, bro. 24. Especially for a back, you'll still have another 10 years if you put your mind to it. 10 years at least. So yeah, heaps of time.
And you're speaking about Lima Sopwanga. How was it being in the Highlanders environment, playing with guys like Lima Sopwanga and Aaron Smith, and obviously having your brother there, Ash Dixon, as well? So how was it?
Nah, not my brother.
He's not your brother?
My brother.
Oh shit.
Nah. So a lot of South Africans actually get that. They're like, oh, you must be brother. Nah, it's just the same last name, which is quite odd. But
I got to delete that part.
Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, it's always good to play with those boys, especially since Aaron and Lima were all the same year. We all got picked up in 2011 from Jamie Joe in his first year down south. So yeah, it was always good to play with them. They're awesome players, great All Blacks, especially Aaron's just hit another stride in the last 2 years. I'd have to say him and Fuff are probably the best halfbacks I've ever seen play with. And I think the culture that we've built down there over a few seasons, that was really hard work in 2011 to probably 2014, and then building on top of that with those kind of guys has always been awesome, and something that I pride myself being in that team and turning a franchise around, which is cool.
That's awesome, brother. But how is it? I have to ask you how it is playing under the roof. How's that?
Yeah. So my first year in 2011, we still played at Carisbrook. So I was actually in the same team. Brownie came over from Japan. Oh no, I think he might have been in the Stormers. He came back and played. So I was with Brownie. He was playing. I think he played one of the last games at Carisbrook, and I was meant to get on the last game at Carisbrook, but Lima Sopwanga never kicked it out. So we were winning by I think 4 points versus the Force, I think it was, or the Reds. I'm not too sure which one. It was one of those Australian teams, and I was on the sideline warming up, getting ready to go on. And they're like, "Sweet, once this ball goes out, you jump on for your debut." I was like, "Sweet as," and he never kicked it out. Kicked it long. They got it. Did like 6 or 7 phases. Scored. We lost the game, and I was just sitting there like, "Oh, come on, Cuzzy." Come on, guys. So I never forgave him for that. But that was probably the last game at Carisbrook that I can remember. And then playing under the roof was just awesome. You know that at least half of your games are going to be dry, fast rugby.
Yeah.
And 10,000 people in there feel like 50,000 people at Loftus or at Newlands. So yeah, it was probably the best thing that Dunedin ever did, was build that stadium. And I'm just hoping that a lot more franchises will do that in not only New Zealand, but other places in the world. Because if you know that you're going to get dry rugby for home games, then most teams love playing there, and you love playing there too. So it's a good spectacle. So
Yeah, definitely it will be a high scoring game, and obviously the caliber of players that are showcasing their skills, whether it be in Super Rugby or Super Rugby Aotearoa. And obviously there was a guy now like Ben Smith. It was awesome watching him as well, his versatility and the quality of the players that even now with the Highlanders have Mitch Hunt and Joshua Wani switching from 10 and 15. I did really like enjoying watching that. And Mitch has obviously moved from the Crusaders to the Highlanders. I wonder what's Aaron Smith's take on that, playing with different tens and the control of the game from Lima and Mitch and Josh. I wonder how that's going.
Yeah, yeah. I think especially with a nine like Aaron, it wouldn't take him long to get used to the different quirks or the different things that a different team would need. The good thing about tens in New Zealand, they seem to have pretty good presence in the pocket and know how to marshal the squad, like know how to pick the corners, know what plays we need to run. Especially with Joshua Wani, young kid going up when I was there, and now he's just hitting his straps. And Mitch, I was in the game where he kicked that goal actually against us, so that was good for the boys to get him down south. But I still didn't really forgive him after that. But yeah, that was heartbreaking. I was on the bottom of a ruck, I think, and I just looked up. I was like, "Oh no, that's going to go!" And it was about 47 meters out. I was like, "Wow,
like out of nothing, 46, 47 meters." Because I remember they asked him about it, and he said that White Crockett said, "Do something with it, do something with it." He just hit the drop goal out of nothing.
Yeah, I think we might have been up, or it was at least drawn, and I think there was like phase after phase, and we knew something was going to happen. We thought they'd just run it out, or like just keep trying to plug it away, get a penalty, and go for the corner or something like that. But when he dropped into the pocket, I was like, oh no one's going to really put pressure on him. Didn't really, and slaughtered it too. I don't think he could do that one more time out of 100, even if he tried.
Yeah, and like you actually owe Mitch and Lima like a massive tackle if you do get to meet him again. Lima for not giving you your debut. And then obviously the Puma coming out and the Force or the Reds getting the win. And then Mitch obviously sinking you guys at the last.
Yeah. I'll save it up. I'll save it up one day. Hopefully I get to play against them and see what happens. But no, I'll probably have to chase them around, which is never too good. They'll get away pretty quick.
Yeah. But they have really good feet actually, to be honest.
Yeah. That is, it's pretty hard to hit those guys, especially like Richie Mwanga and those janky tens that you can't really get your hands on. I found probably the hardest guy to tackle was Damien Mckenzie, because speed gets you out of trouble. I remember we'd do a kickoff, like a kick to him, and I'd be lining him up. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to absolutely crush him. And then I'd go down, dip down to tackle, and he's already over here, like another 30 centimeters meter away. And I'm like, oh, geez, weak tackle, or like just a scrag compared to putting a shoulder on and putting him back through next week. But never managed to do that.
Like, I'm obviously hearing your stories now playing against those guys, and hopefully just one day, even if I can link up with them, even in a training session or something, just to feel how it is to go up against those guys, to defend against them. Like Damien Mckenzie, Mwanga, you know how quick their feet are, their hands, their skills are exceptional. So definitely a great battle this weekend as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think they've both got some pretty awesome players in each position. It's just going to be the team that wins most moments. Set piece battle, I think that the Crusaders will probably have that, and then the Chiefs' backs are pretty dynamite. But if you're not getting front foot ball, it's pretty hard to win. So yeah, that's going to be an awesome game, and I'll probably be watching that. I don't usually watch many games, actually, to be fair, mate. I'm not a big code head like that. I'll watch my game tape and watch my own game after a game, like watch tape of opposition, but I don't really like to sit down and watch other games. I suppose it's like I always thought of it as, if I was a builder, I wouldn't go home and watch a building show. So like I'll switch off and do something else, or watch basketball or something like that. So yeah, I'll do my work at work time, once tools are down, I'll do something different.
That makes sense, brother. That's a great example, actually. Because like as a professional, obviously it's 24/7. You have to focus on your body, on your physique, on your fitness. It's rugby all the time with maybe what about one off day in a game week, right?
Usually one. Yeah, you usually have like, so if you play on a Saturday, you'll have Wednesday off, and then obviously the day after the game you'll have off. Yeah.
And then how is it when you came into a new environment at Japan or at Southland? How was it making new friends? And then after you made the friends, what do you speak about outside of rugby?
That's a good question. Yeah, like it's, I suppose, moving anywhere new, it's in any work environment is pretty hard. The good thing about rugby is that you're with 40, 50 lads that like to do exactly what you like to do anyway. So I don't find it too hard to make friends. Well, they might say something different, but I don't find it too hard to make friends with the boys. And usually outside of rugby, what we talk about is pretty much what everyone else does, man. Like, has a family, what are you guys going to do on the weekend? Do you want to have a few beers, have a barbecue? You know what I mean? It's there's nothing really much different. It's just I suppose on that Saturday, it's a lot different than other people. We're playing in front of people and we're playing for a profession, but other than that, man, it's pretty much just day-to-day life with just 40 good mates, which is a pretty cool environment.
And earlier you spoke about you do some gaming in your isolation, in your quarantine. So what do you like to play?
Oh yeah, so I'm more of like a single player kind of, game, GTA and that sort of stuff,
lovely.
or Red Dead Redemption. I'm not a big online kind of gamer. I get too frustrated and probably start throwing remotes at the screen and start saying that my internet's slow, even though it's not. But yeah, I'm just more of like a story-based kind of gaming that can eat up a few hours, especially because I used to not be able to sleep, or I still can't sleep after games. So
you're night owl.
Especially when you're trying to, yeah, I am, especially being over here without the family. I've been going to bed real late, like up until like 2 o'clock in the morning playing games, which is never usually too good. But yeah, something just to take slow, wind yourself down, play a bit of gaming, and then refocus for the next day, which is good.
That's awesome, brother. Like I still don't play any online games. If I do play any, it would be like GTA or FIFA career mode, things like that. Like I really enjoy playing also story modes. I'm not a big like a Call of Duty guy. I'd watch it, but I wouldn't like play it.
Yeah, I used to play that quite a lot, and then I just kind of drifted away from that and just wanted a little bit more lax kind of gaming. I even started playing PGA golf career mode, which is as laxed as you can get, to be honest. So yeah, just stuff like that, just to tick away a couple of hours, especially when you're in isolation like I am at the moment. It's always good to have, especially when Netflix isn't bringing anything out new and you've run dry on that. So it's good to switch on the Xbox and have a little game.
That's awesome, brother. And what I wanted to ask you was, when you made your Maori debut in 2012, right? And 4 years later, you made your All Blacks debut in 2016. What's the difference with in the environment, with the setup from the Maori to the All Blacks?
I suppose, first with the Māori All Blacks, that was probably my goal as a kid, was to make the Māori All Blacks. I suppose a lot of people would be like, it's make the All Blacks would be your goal. But now, being a Māori boy, young Māori boy growing up in Christchurch, is always loved watching the Māori All Blacks play. Loved their haka, and learning that was awesome in 2012. And before that, I had never really spoke Māori before, never really learnt it. And then after I made the team, I was like, I don't really want to be a plastic Māori or one of those guys that can't speak it, especially representing my people. And then I went to work and now I can speak it pretty much fluently, which is awesome. And did some classes and really enjoyed it. So I think that for me was a different kind of environment is more cultural for me, and just more like a just like a payback for my family. I suppose that's like for me, making the Māori All Blacks was just as big, if not bigger, than the All Blacks. The environment with the All Blacks when I made it in 2016 was awesome. Especially making it the first year after Richie had left. I think he left after the World Cup in 2015, and getting my first game versus Wales in Dunedin was pretty special too. And that environment was something I really enjoyed and would have loved to have played more games, but sometimes that's the way, especially in a rugby team. Enjoyed the time when I was there, but wouldn't change anything with the Landers and the Māori All Blacks to get back to the All Blacks. I think I really enjoyed what I did, and I was glad for what I did, but I was pretty happy to move on.
That's awesome, brother, because you're taking things as they are, and how it panned out, you just accepted it. And that's great that you actually learned the Maori language in that space of time. I don't know much Maori. I only know how to greet in Maori.
Yeah.
That's all I know. But
Yeah,
hopefully
that's more than most of the people, bro, which is awesome. So I think it's always good to, if your cultural background is something, I think it's always good to touch on that and draw from that, and it gives you just another string to your bow after rugby, which I always thought about. It'd be cool to learn the language, and then I was like, oh, well, there's nothing really holding you back. It's just myself. So yeah, got to do that, and you really enjoy it now.
And the calls, were they all in Maori or English?
For the Māori All Blacks, no, most of the lineouts were in Te Reo Māori, which was pretty cool. Pretty simple stuff, like you'd probably pick it up within a week or something like that. But most of the meetings and stuff were in Māori and in English, mostly English. But we had like a koro that used to come in and just tell stories in Māori and just teach us about different parts of different tribes and different iwi and different stories about different things, which was probably my favorite part of the week. Yeah. Usually on Tuesday, Thursdays, just a little bit different, a little bit more lax than the All Blacks, and probably a stronger ties to New Zealand too.
Definitely, because while you're playing there, you have to know the reason why you're playing there and what it's all about. Yeah. So that obviously shows to the new guys and the guys who are still there the importance of playing for the Maori All Blacks.
Yeah, and I think it's quite a unique team, as they used to tell us. There's not many teams where everyone has got the same blood, I suppose. Like everyone in the team is Māori or part Māori, and it's a pretty cool thing to draw upon, and it just bonds you a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, and probably a little bit stronger than most other teams that I've ever played for. And you could I could go from, I remember in 2016 going from All Blacks, we're over in USA, going straight from the All Blacks to playing a game with the Māori All Blacks the next week. Yeah. And I picked it up straight back into that culture, straight back into that team environment pretty quickly, which was always good to have.
Was that game from in USA, was that in Chicago? Was it against Ireland?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes. So the boys lost against Ireland, and then that next week, that same week, I played versus USA for the Māori All Blacks. Yeah.
That's awesome, brother. And they just welcome you open arms, basically straight back into it. And obviously representing your people, representing the indigenous people of New Zealand, the New Zealand Maori All Blacks. I think just a little bit, I wouldn't compare the two, but just a little bit of more importance, if I can say that.
Yeah, it's just it's important to you if you believe it, and I think most of the boys in that team, I think everyone in that team did believe it, which is always awesome. And it's a fun team to be a part of, because I suppose it's a little bit more relaxed, and the brand of rugby is quite awesome. Just you see a lot of the Māori athletes around the world are pretty good at offloads and throwing some scucky long balls and stuff like that. So it's quite like that. It's game plan, probably 20% game plan, and then the rest of it's just talent and just play what you see in front of you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Are you talking about the long throw about Stephen Nuatua?
Oh no, those throws, no. He's I think he's Samoan, isn't he? Is he Tongan or Samoan? No. But more just like the touch passes, the no look touch passes that go all the way to the other side of the yeah. I can't throw them. I can only throw the offloads.
I think Eden Smith is also really good at no look passes. To be honest, really.
Oh yeah, mate. Yeah, he can do any kind of pass, bro. That's his bread and butter. He's that's why he gets paid the big bucks, because he can pass with his eyes closed.
And Elliot, what were your biggest challenges in your life and your professional career thus far that you've experienced, where you've needed maybe some outside help to assist you?
Yeah, so like I still have challenges now. I think this last 10 months has probably been the most challenging personally. Just being away from the family and having 3 kids, 3 young kids, and the wife as well. With coronavirus, that's been mentally challenging and personally challenging, just watching the kids grow up through a Skype. So, but with before that, I suppose after the 2016, after the next year in 2017, not getting picked for the All Blacks, I think I had a little bit of time where I didn't move on. I was a little bit frustrated with the comms I had with the coaches and stuff like that, and not getting the feedback that I needed. And then I was able to reach out to mental skills coach and just tell them my problems and what I was thinking, and they just said, "Yeah, sweet." Gave me a plan, and once I acted on that plan, I actually started to enjoy my rugby again and started playing better than I probably was in 2016 and 2018, 2019. I was having real good fun and just taking every moment and dropping anything that happened. And it was probably just the mental side I was probably lacking in for a wee bit, or for a couple of years when things aren't going your way. It's quite easy when you're winning and everything's going good to keep on top of your mental side, but when things aren't going good and you're either losing or you've had a dip in form or you've got injuries, that's when you need to probably call on different people, or maybe even family members. But I find that family members will just tell you what you want to hear, whereas people outside will probably tell you what you need to hear.
That's true, brother. And that's amazing that you went out to go and seek the help, because obviously the British and Irish Lions, they don't come around too often, every 5 years or so. And obviously in July, they're coming down to South Africa. So hopefully, COVID is still pretty rough here. So hopefully I'll be able to meet a couple of players. During your challenges in that time, obviously it's frustrating. You felt that you have to be in the squad and the communication that you received was not good enough. And through the mental health side, you've been really mature about it, and then being able to carry on with your career.
Yeah, I think it's just always got told when I was younger and didn't really think of much of it, but I got told by my dad that if you never get picked in a team, it's because it's one man's opinion. That really resonated probably a little bit later in my career. Like, you could do the most amazing things, but if that person doesn't fit you in their puzzle, which is fine because they've obviously got looking at it a different way, then you just got to move on with that and then go take your skills somewhere else, or put your time and effort into something else that's worth it. So I think it was just that kind of just that switch. Yep, sweet, all good, that's gone. Let's do something different, or let's focus it into the next year, or focus it into blah, 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 which for me wasn't always the easiest, but after seeking some help with mental skills, which I find is probably the biggest side with rugby nowadays, is everyone is strong, fast, talented, got skills, but I think it's that switch that you can either, I made a mistake, shit, I'm going to drag my feet for the next 20 minutes, or I'm just going to bang, switch, let go of that and move on to the next thing. So that for me is probably the place where you can make the most gains, because you can't put yourself in the gym every day and run every day, because you're thinking next week I still have to do that again, and then next week I still have to do it again. So yeah, you can train your mind a bit better, and I find those things that probably help more.
That's gold, brother. What your father shared with you, because that's one man's opinion. I'll definitely take that advice. To be honest, when I injured myself, my shoulder, I was supposed to make my first team debut that weekend. I was playing for the majority of the season at fullback, and then I was playing at the second team. Obviously, you move on to the first team. So I felt that before the break in the season, the mid break for Ramadan, before we had that, I felt that I had to be in the first team because I felt like I was playing the best rugby of my life.
Yeah.
Making line breaks, all of that, and being the goal kicker at the time in the team as well. And then obviously I got injured, so that was extremely frustrating because I had to make my debut the weekend. And then before that, actually, I was dropped to the third team, and there was no explanation, and nobody's communicated with me. And I thought, okay, it's fine. I'll just play here as long as I'm playing. I don't care where I'm playing. I was happy, obviously, to play with the guys, but there was no communication, so that was frustrating as well. And I didn't ask about it because I just felt that, hey, you have to tell me, like, what am I doing wrong? And that was extremely frustrating. And then getting injured, adding to that. So it wasn't a good mental state for me at the time, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as you mature as a player, especially me thinking back to when I was 24, I probably wouldn't have gone and asked for that advice, or wouldn't have gone and been like, oh, what do I need to do to get to the second or the first team? You know what I mean? Whereas now, I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I'm 31 now. I've got 3 kids, so geez, just tell me what you need from me. What do you need from me? Do you need me to do this, this, and this? What am I not doing right? And what do you think I need to do? And I find that even if you ask those questions, they'll start looking at your game a little bit more than if you just, I suppose, just take it and just drop a lip. Even if you don't drop the lip a little bit and get frustrated, it's always good to, I think, just to go and ask. But the most frustrating thing, as you said, is injuries. Can't do much about that, bro. It's just rehab well, and then when you come back, you'll have the hunger to get back out there and do it again.
Because that's definitely part of the game out of our hands. And I'm just really excited for next year. Like, obviously, my online classes, all of that. It's always something that happens before I go to the gym or some fitness. I have to do something else. But whenever I get the opportunity, I really want to take it. And I don't want to like speak about it all the time. I want to like put in the work so that I can be ready for next year. So wherever I play next year, I definitely want to be ready.
Yeah, exactly. And all you can do is just sharpen the axe, as I said. Like, and then when it's ready to cut trees, just fucking go swing. That's all you can do. And even if you're sharpening that axe for 3 or 4 months before you even get to play, as soon as you're ready, as soon as you get that opportunity, though, you just go out there and play your own game and have fun doing it. I think that's a big thing. Is as long as you're having fun, then that I suppose that makes you enjoy it more, and makes you enjoy the environment more, and makes you want to sacrifice more to get back there again. So
definitely, like I can say that I've played everywhere in the backline. I played scrum off, I played 10, I played on the wings, I played 12, I played 13, played at 15, I played in the forwards as well, I played lock as well. And I played in the front row at a what do you call it? I can't get to the word, where you don't compete, uncontested scrums.
Yeah. Golden oldies.
Yeah. So I've literally played everywhere. And even if I had to go and play hooker for my team and they needed a hooker, I'd go play there just so that I could play. I wouldn't mind at all.
Yeah, exactly. If you're willing to do that, then it's just getting that opportunity. And once you get that opportunity, you're sweet. But it's injuries, as I said, it's a frustrating business, man. But can't do much about it.
And like, I think as a professional, any player of any sport, any code, actually, the way you come back from the injuries says a lot about you. So hopefully it all goes well.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the putting in that time, rehabbing, making sure you don't eat too many treats, brother, and get too big. I've done that before and got way too big. And then when you come back, it's not too hard of a transfer from going from being injured to playing. Whereas if you don't put that work in and you're a step behind everyone else who have already been playing, it's quite hard to catch up, especially in season. In pre-season, that's fine. You can easily make that up within 2 weeks. But in season, with everyone playing, it's quite hard to get back onto a level footing if you don't give yourself that opportunity to be there. Yeah.
And I think I've cut out like fizzy drinks for a year now, and I'll only drink juice, and I'll mix it with some water and things like that. I like juice a lot. I'd rather drink juice than fizzy drinks. I know about the sugar and all of that, but to me personally, it's not gas in there, and I don't drink much tea and coffee and things like that.
Yeah.
So I need to cut out the treats, definitely, the chocolates and the takeouts and things like that. Which is really.
I've been really lucky, man, because I've eaten the same thing that I've eaten since I was about 21, which is never really good food. Yeah. Not real bad stuff, but I do like a trip to McDonald's or to KFC, and I do drink quite a bit of Coke, but not. I just drink the Coke Zero stuff now, which is all good. But I've been blessed with a good metabolism, but I think it's starting to slow down because I'm putting on weight pretty quickly now. Like it's, in isolation, I'm looking like, oh, geez, I might need to start just stopping a meal a day. Might just need to go down to 1 meal a day instead of 2.
But what's the requirements for you in isolation now? Like your diet requirements or workout requirements?
No, so like I think it's just we get skin fold testing, which is like the sum of 8 spaces. So they take it from body fat from around your 8 different sites. So I think it's your bicep, tricep, subscap, and the one around the gut is usually the worst one. I've got small calves and small thighs, so they're usually pretty low. So I'm pretty happy with those. But it's usually around the guts is where the money's made. But I think it's just to come in near our same sum of 8 or same skin folds as we left. So if you don't, then you'll get extra trainings, which is never fun for anyone. But if you do come in within, I suppose, within a, there's not heaps, but if you come in 5 kgs overweight and weigh off your skin folds, then you'll be on the bike quite a bit and running a lot more.
Punishment, really. And
if
you were to compare like the physicality or the level of rugby from Super Rugby and Japan, where you're currently playing, how would that fare between the two?
Good question, bro. The speed I think is about the same, if not a little bit faster, maybe here sometimes. In Japan, but the physicality isn't the same, I don't think. Especially with watching the Super Rugby in the last few weeks, it looks like a test match every week. And you can tell by the amount of injuries in each team. I was looking through the Highlanders injury list, and I was looking through like the Chiefs injury list as well. And they've got like 20 people missing with season and ending injuries, contact injuries as well, not like a pulled hammy or something like that, like actual AC, ACL, something like that. So it's just one of those things that physicality is probably not as big over in Japan, and the seasons aren't as long, which I find as well. So we only play 9 games here, but we train for a lot longer. So like we had 5 months preseason, which is ridiculous. We only have usually 6 weeks preseason back in Super. So it's just the training level's different. But the actual game itself, physicality is probably the main difference between Japan and New Zealand.
That's awesome. But do they explain to you guys as newcomers or like why the training is that long and why you only play such a few games?
No, I think that's just Japan, bro. I think it's always been like that. Because they've got a semi-professional league. They've got company workers as their players as well. So they pretty much train a long time beforehand because the workers don't want to work in the company. They want to train and play rugby. You know what I mean? So so all the international players will come in, but they won't come in right at the start of the preseason. They'll come in maybe, I don't know, a month in, but it's still, even from that month in, because of coronavirus this year, it ended up being we got here in August. We didn't play our first game until February. So so it's like August,
half a year,
October, November, January. Yeah, so 6 months pretty much.
Damn, how frustrating was that?
Yeah, it was frustrating, and because I got injured 4 weeks before the season, and I missed 3 games, which was pretty much half the season. I missed 4 games, so, and it was an in-house game that I got injured in, which is the worst kind of injury is an in-house game. I did like a pec tear, so reaching out for a tackle and just went like that to close. Yeah, like a contact one, and just did a grade 2 pec tear, which wasn't as bad. At the same pec that I actually ripped off the bone in 2012 versus the Sharks in Durban, actually. Yeah.
How does that feel?
That's no good. No, that's not a good one. Yeah, it feels like, have you ever, like a measuring tape, you know, the ones that you pull out and then you let it go and it goes zzz, like that. That's what the muscle feels like when the tendon rips off the bone. It just feels like it goes zoom, and then your whole
hanging
pec just drops. It drops down probably about 4 or 5 inches. Not good.
It's like a gym injury almost.
No, it's big in, like, when you're in the gym. A lot of bodybuilders do it when they're doing bench press. Which is that's the ones that you see on like those fail videos and stuff when somebody's lifting and then
did you see that
just
video?
Suddenly that was exactly what happened like that. Yuck. But I can't lift that heavy, so I wouldn't be doing that in the gym anyway.
I thought you were benching 1,000.
No, not me, mate. I was before I ripped my pec. I was benching actually quite good. I was about 170, but now I can't even. I don't even try and do any more than body weight now. I just do body weight exercises and stuff now. So
now how does gym work? Like, if you've been gymming for so long, like throughout your professional career and before that, like how much effort you put in the gym work now?
I think like twice a week. We usually have 3 or 4 gym sessions a week, but twice a week I'll go pretty hard. Usually on a full body day and an upper body day. But I just don't think you can afford to go handy in 4 gym sessions a week plus playing, especially being professional since 2009. It's, you know, your body, you can kind of listen to it. Like if you're tight hammies and tight legs or tight back, obviously you're not going to be doing squats. You just get on the leg press, or you'll do something different, or you'll do body weight, or if your pec's a bit tight, do some press ups with or like dumbbell stuff instead of doing the barbell. So they're pretty lenient with that sort of stuff. Like obviously if you're first couple of years in a professional environment, then you'll listen to the trainer a lot more and follow the plan pretty much to a T. But if you're a little bit older, then I like to go and talk to the gym, like whoever takes it, and say like, look, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do, this is what I need to do before the weekend to perform. And they're pretty good about it if that's what you need to perform on a Saturday, is not to do squats on a Friday or a Thursday. You know what I mean? So it's just, I think it's good to have those open lines of communication, especially with other professionals in your environment.
That's awesome, brother. And what are your aspirations outside of rugby? Like if you were to finish playing.
Finish rugby, well, which is possible. I could retire this year, which has been on the mind, especially after Corona, but hopefully not. See what happens. But the aspirations outside rugby. So I've always had the the wish to be financially pretty stable by the time I retire, but that's not always the case with rugby, especially you're one tackle away from being retired. So I think for me personally, it was just making good decisions with my money, learning a lot about money and what I can do with it, and how I can invest it, and use my contacts that I've got and have had over the years to help me, because I bet you once you finish rugby and after a couple of years, a lot of people won't answer those phone calls, which seems bad, but it's a lot easier to ask those favors now, or ask for that help now when you're still playing, than to ask a little bit later down the track when obviously they might be busy or have other people that they're talking to. So yeah, I think financial freedom is an aspiration, as well as starting a new career and something different. I went straight from school straight into professional rugby, so that's all I've really done, and I always really wanted to do something different outside of rugby, either police. I was interested in the police, or working with my brother, that we've got he's got a business back home with financial stuff and finance and marketing and insurance, and hopefully work with him. Yeah, so there's a lot of options, but probably the big one is financial freedom and being able to just spend a lot more time with the kids without traveling. Yeah,
I think that's what we all want, definitely, to be financially stable and by being able to support our families, obviously. Hopefully I can be in your shoes one day in that professional environment, and then seeing what to do with the money, whether I am able to travel or not. I think really important, besides financial stability, is enjoying what you do, and obviously not doing something that I have to do this to support my family. Yeah, obviously you have to support your family, but you also want to enjoy what you are doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think that it's really important, especially being in Japan this year without the family. I don't think I'd do it again. Like, I wouldn't come by myself to Japan without the family. I'd bring them over, or like would look at something different, you know what I mean? So it's especially enjoying it and being there with the people you love and you want to support and who want to support you. So yeah, definitely that's a big one, is the enjoyment, and being comfortable in the environment that you want to be in.
Yeah. And how does one get a trial over in Japan? Or do they scout you, or how does it work?
So like I suppose my path's a little bit different than just normal Joe Blogs that wants to play rugby in Japan. I was pretty much scouted from Super Rugby, and a team liked me and said, what would it take for you to come over here, and here's a contract, would you like to come over? And pretty much did a year doing both. So I played Super Rugby in 2019. 2018 played Super, came to Rico for a year, and then went back and played Super again in 2019. And I enjoyed it in Rico, and I thought, I'll come back, and they signed me for 2 years. So this is my last year of that deal. So I suppose it's a bit different than a normal rugby player in New Zealand would probably come over and do a trial. If they played well in the trial matches, get a gig, get a year gig, and then if they play well in the top league or that competition, then they'd get another longer contract. So yeah.
So how does that work when you played 1 year for the Highlanders, you came to Japan, and then you have another year with the Highlanders? How does that work?
Yeah, so I played pretty much up until, June, July 2018, finished Super Rugby, and then got on a plane pretty much straight over with the family, and then started playing again in September. So I was pretty much straight back into competition within like a month. And then once I'd finished in January, February, I flew back to New Zealand and had 2 weeks off, and then I started Super Rugby again, and then played pretty much every single game after that to get to my 100. So yeah, it was tough, like on the body. but I really enjoyed it. Like I'd rather be playing, like going from one season to another and playing than just training for like 5 months up until a season and then play. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather be spending that time actually working on like playing skills, playing and getting a hit out than actual just training. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was tough, but yeah, it would be cool to do that again one day if I can, but if not, then just see what happens.
Awesome, brother. And definitely, you definitely get into the police force. They would hire you without giving your resume. So you definitely.
Yeah, I don't know if they trust me, to be fair. I think they'll be like, oh, I don't know. We know you. We know we've seen you on the field. I don't think we'll want you, mate.
And brother, any advice for younger ones aiming for a professional career or being a loose in a professional career?
Yeah, I suppose, like I said, with being a loose forward, a bit of advice is become versatile. Become versatile enough that you have to be picked each week, either on the bench or starting. I think that's a big thing. As long as you're picked in that 23, then you can start working on that game time and getting a crack. And it really helps if you know every single role. So 6, 7, 8 roles, lineouts and set piece plays and defense and stuff like that, which I didn't really find out until a little bit later in my career when I got a lot of good loose forwards around me playing and starting and stuff like that. Well, how am I going to fit into this? This is how I fit in. Versatile. I can play 6, 7, 8. I can pinch in at lock if I really have to. Don't really want to, but yeah. So I think that advice is just to seek that counsel from the coaches and be like, look, this is what I want to do. How can I get into the team? And once you get in that crack, then give it a real good go and don't look back. For advice for other, I suppose, for younger guys coming in and learning to be a professional, I think a big thing is be on time, listen to meetings, write down notes, and keep a diary. I find that has really helped me, not just rugby stuff, but outside of rugby as well. Write down what you need to do. Set some time away from rugby. Put your phone down when you're with people you like, and just enjoy the moment and being in a team. Because as I said, like I've been a professional since 2011, but geez, it's gone quick. Yeah, and I don't feel like I'm 31, nearly 32 years old. I've enjoyed every moment of it, and would do it again in a flash.
That's amazing, brother. It was really, really great advice you shared there. I've learned so much from you, and I really do hope that we can link up in the future, whether it be in New Zealand or wherever it is. Maybe have a crack. Feel if I can. I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to tackle you, but I'll try.
Nah, bro, you definitely be able to tackle me, especially if I have to get back surgery. You'll be able to just tackle me after I've had it. Mate. I'll be in a wheelchair. You will smack me back. Nah, definitely. If you're in New Zealand, bro, come down to Christchurch, watch a game. I won't come with you because I don't really want to go see the Crusaders. But you can come back to mine afterwards and have a few beers.
I don't actually drink, but I'll have some juice with you. Yeah.
Yeah, nah, sweet as, brother. We can have a juice, or you can get on the braai. And you can teach me how to cook a barbie properly, eh?
Definitely.
Or we could go for a hunt. We can go for a hunt somewhere, bro. We can go for a hunt. Get up on the hills and
But it has to be halal meat, eh?
Yeah, exactly. You can do it yourself. You can cut it to the east, can't you?
But you first need to teach me how to use the rifle or.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bro. Yeah,
that'll be awesome. I've never done anything like that before. Sort it out.
Or even if we don't need to shoot animals, bro, we can always go shoot targets.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I'm definitely into that. Because
brother, this is anytime.
Anytime. Yeah, that'll be awesome. I can't wait. Because this is my final year of studying my teaching degree, my education degree. Nice. So hopefully next year start working and then saving up and all of those. And
mate, you could probably get a placement in Christchurch, man.
Yeah.
Always need good teachers in Christchurch. Definitely. Yeah. Look into it, bro. You'll be able to get it, or even be able to come to New Zealand and play rugby, club rugby, start at club rugby or something, and teach as well, which would be quite a cool option.
That would be awesome, definitely. I just want to play like one game in New Zealand to know that I've played there. So that's definitely an aspiration for myself.
No, good idea, brother. All good.
Yeah. And I hope it goes well. You going next week, you're going back home next week.
Back home. Yep.
Some great time with your family to spend. Obviously lots of catching up to do.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to learn how to be a dad again. It's gonna be a lot of early mornings and late nights, but hopefully be able to get a bit of coffee into me and be sweet.
Elliot Dixon, it was awesome having you in the Rugby Talk. Thanks for taking out the time, brother.
Cheers, brother. Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Sweet, Bruss.